on this edition of The Nation Wants to Know. Milind, thank you so much for your time. You've traveled from the Congress to the Shiv Sena. It's a day today that I think breaks a piece of all of us, because Manmohan Singh today is no more. But Manmohan Singh is that epitome of not just simplicity, but I think every one of us has that one nice story, that one nice anecdote to talk about him, whether that was his simplicity, his smile, his humor, his wit, or everything, Milind, that he's done for the country. What is it that strikes you most about the late Dr. Manmohan Singh? Milind, can you hear us?
Manmohan Singh since I was a young boy. And yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, go on, please.
When he was governor of RBI, and he befriended my late father at the time, he would live in Mumbai. And I would see him when I was a young boy. He, in fact, guided me on my studies when I entered politics, when I first became an MP, when I joined his government. And even when he debated office, I would still see him often and talk to him about many issues. There are many things that come to mind, Dipti. Working with him as a minister in his government, being an MP in parliament while he was Prime Minister of India, receiving calls from him when I would speak, when I initiated the debate in parliament on the historic right to information bill, when I spoke in parliament on the 2005 Indo-US nuclear agreement, receiving a personal call from him, congratulating me, thanking me for participating. Many issues that come to mind, having long conversations with him about shipping when I was shipping minister, about India's internet, whether we should follow an open internet policy in the way that Europe and the US do, or whether we should look at other models. Talking about the future of the Congress, talking about politics around the world. But the one thing that comes to me across these interactions is that Dr. Manmohan Singh was someone who had absolutely no feeling of insecurity or ego. And when I say that, I mean that I was a young, inexperienced member of parliament. He had been finance minister. He had achieved everything. When I would go to him to seek advice from him, he would often turn the tables around and ask me for advice. He would say, here's a political problem, here's an economic problem, so we resolve this. And in that sense, he was a true democrat. He was truly humble, and he was truly accessible. And when I say accessible, not just with his time, but with his mind space. He was willing to part with his mind space, to share his own views and to solicit views. He didn't discriminate on the basis of age or experience. He could have easily said, you're a young boy, you have no experience. He didn't do that. He would, in fact, encourage people to share ideas. And I remember one instance when I was a IT minister and we were debating a project called the National E-Governance Plan. And where essentially we were looking at disintermediating the government and making services of the government more accessible to the common person. One of those successful schemes, the second was filing of income tax returns online. And then there was a conversation about interoperability between different ministries, between different governments, state and center. And there was a bit of a technical issue. And he very openly said, when I leave it to my young minister to take a decision and to take a call on. I remember once having a conversation with him soon after I joined Twitter, and I was a late entrant to joining Twitter, which is now called X. And I went to him as Prime Minister and suggested that, sir, you should also have an account. And world leaders are on Twitter and on social media, and it's important for us to educate the public that we're working continuously. We're doing things public sometimes aren't aware of what we're doing. And Twitter is a good medium for people who are moving more and more online and don't read newspapers. And he very, honestly said that I don't have much understanding of how this works, but I want you to meet my media advisor, my media team, and do what you think is best. So I never encountered any resistance from him. I only encountered honesty, sincerity. I don't know this issue. You seem to know it better. If it's the right thing to do, I'm open about it. And in that sense, he was very open-minded also. He was open to suggestions. And I think if he was not open-minded, when India was facing an economic crisis in 1991, under his leadership, under Narasimha Rao's leadership, the government would have never enacted the economic reforms, which changed the economic history of India, even the political history of the country. So keeping an open mind is very important, especially.
You know, Milind, these are very nice instances. I just have a very troubled audio line with you. I'm just trying to figure out if we can make it better, because, you know, our viewers would want to hear what Milind really has to say. And you know, Milind, a lot of people also